Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Apps Tube. Today I'm going to be interviewing a few of our international students for prospective applicants who are outside of the US. Everything you want to know about living in the US, living in the Boston area from our current international students, information is on this episode. So first I'm going to ask each student to just tell us their name and what country they're from. Tuba?
Hi, my name is Tugba Metinyurt. I was born and raised in Turkey.
Hi Tuba. Meltem?
Hello, my name is Meltem Karaca, and I'm also from Turkey.
And Marcus?
Hi, I'm Marcus Litander, and I'm not from Turkey. I'm from Sweden.
And Merve?
Hi, I'm Merve Arman Boatekin, and I'm also from Turkey.
Hi, everybody. So you notice that we have a huge Turkish contingent in our program. And then Marcus, who very, very astutely pointed out he's not from Turkey, but from Sweden. In addition, we have students from other countries. We have students from India and from Macau who unfortunately can't join us in today's recording, but they're definitely a big part of our apps community. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to ask each student to tell us a little bit more about their research and then give some tips and insights into what it's like to be an international student in the US and in Boston. So let's start with Meltem.
Hi, everyone, again. So my general research interests lie in the intersection of memory, long-term memory, metacognition across the lifespan. And one focus of mine is applying principles from cognitive psychology to educational settings to improve students' learning and academic performance. And my other line of research that I have gotten into recently is about examining contextual factors that contribute to age-related differences in memory. For example, I'm examining to what extent subjective experience of aging, like subjective age, is associated with age-related variations in memory. So I would say I have two broad interests. One is age-related changes in memory, and other one is basically improving students' learning in educational settings.
Great, thanks, Meltem. Marcus, tell us a little bit about your research.
Yes, so my research is also in cognitive psychology, and I'm mostly looking into correcting misconceptions, which of course is interesting now. It's a very current issue. I'm mostly looking at educational misconceptions, that for example, we only use 10% of our brain, or maybe you heard of these learning styles tests. There's a lot of personality tests out there that are actually not very scientifically based, to say the least. So I would say that is my main topic that I look into. I think it's very interesting, and I had the chance to really. I was glad I had a very good supervisor who helped me navigate, because the literature is so big and narrowed down. So yeah, but it's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And Marcus highlights the importance of having good advisors who guide you in your training and in your development of your expertise. Merve, tell us about your research.
Okay. I'm glad Marcus mentioned having the impact of having a good advisor, because I had the opportunity to work with Ivy, and it was also a really great experience for me as a PhD student. And my research is about refugee health, and I specifically focus on Syrian refugees in Turkey. And I first started with how social support can be used for their well-being, both physical and psychological. But my dissertation is more about the intergroup relations in Turkey, because I recognize that the intergroup conflict and prejudice between these two groups have an impact on refugees' health and well-being. Like discrimination and racism actually impair people's well-being. So that's why I decided to collect data from Turkish people and understand their perceptions about refugees, so that we can like improve their intergroup relations so that refugees have better health and well-being. So that's the summary of my research.
Thank you, Merve. And Tuba?
My research focuses on the manifestation of microaggressions in the workplace and the bystander approach to interrupt their occurrence and mitigate their detrimental impact. So I want to give the description of the term microaggressions for those who are not familiar with it. So microaggressions are defined as commonplace, daily, verbal, behavioral, or environmental indignities that communicate hostile racial, gender, or sexual orientation or religious slights. So they adversely impact physical health and psychological health of the targets, and more importantly, they can create a climate conducive for more blatant harassment. So the goal of my research is to understand the factors that encourage and discourage bystander behavior in the face of workplace microaggressions. And I think my ultimate or long-term goal is to inform evidence-based intervention programs for bias reduction.
Mm-hmm. And what Tuba just said is a great example of how students in our program apply psychological science to real life settings. And as you hear from all 5 students, all their research areas are very, very applicable to solve real life problems. Just to add a little bit on behalf of our other international students who can't be here, some of our other international students study issues like decision-making in the courtroom, decision-making in second law cases, as well as the impact of prejudice on educational experience. So I wonder if y'all could tell prospective international students what it's been like what are some of the things you want people to know about living in the United States? Marcus, let's start with you.
Yeah, for me, like if we take like the academic culture, for me, it has actually been very professional compared to like the European. Of course, then I was on a different level. I took my master's in Stockholm and so on. But I think it's very nice. Like we get to present, you get to go to all these conferences. Everything is so close, even though you fly to other cities and so on. You feel, at least I feel, like I am at the center of where the research is happening. So that I have that has been a really nice part of my experience being in the US. And then of course, like the people, and I especially think like here around like the Boston area, there's also like a lot of like international students, which I have appreciated much. So it's a very nice mix of people that I like. So that has been really nice. Although most of my close friends are Turkish, but I like Turkish people. So.
Thank you, Marcus. Well, let's hear from 3 of our favorite Turkish people. Merve?
Yeah, I mean, I think Boston is one of the best cities for an international student because there are a lot of colleges, universities, and a lot of international students as a result of that. So that's why you don't feel like you're like a foreigner, because everyone almost is like a foreigner around you, and you can easily like find people like you if you are in need of that. But other than that, people are much more open to like other cultures and opinions because of this like diverse environment. And also, like as Marcus said, like the professional environment and the academic places are really I think enriching our like ideas, and also like letting us like thrive, because right now I'm back in Turkey to write my dissertation, and I went to a college that teaches in an American style, so I didn't recognize so much of a difference. But now that I'm back, I am able to make a better comparison between the like system there and here. And I really find it valuable to be an international student in the US, and like coming from that perspective and learning from there and then applying it to here, because I think it gave me a whole different perspective than like studying here and then staying here. And I think it made me more open-minded. But at the same time, of course, there are some challenges coming with like being an international student, because you are away from your home and from your family, from your culture. So like especially in the first years, I think it was really challenging for me. But like eventually, like since a lot of people experience the same things as you do, you don't feel like you're alone, and you can like easily find social support systems that you can be a part of. So I think like that's also another factor that like other international students who are like considering applying to the US should take it into consideration.
Thank you, Merve. I definitely agree with that. Just want to say a quick note to the viewers that you're going to hear our international students tell you their experiences in the US in general, as well as Boston specifically. It just so happens that the international students on this recording today live closer to Boston area. Lowell is about a 40 to 45-minute drive to Boston. And a lot of us, I myself included, live closer to the Boston area and drive to Lowell. That is a very common thing. But of course, y'all can always choose to live closer to Lowell. And in our other videos on this channel, you'll hear other people talk about what it's like to live closer to the Lowell area as well. Let's get back to letting our international students talk about what it's like to live here. Tugba.
So living in the US as an international student can be both rewarding and challenging. And I can think of a few ways that can make it more rewarding than challenging. So first of all, I recommend that the newcomers or new international students use university resources for specific international students. Every university has international students and scholars offices that have plenty of resources for internationals, and including housing, visa related resources, mentoring opportunities. So I would recommend that they explore all these opportunities and just don't feel shy about seeking assistance for anything. I'm sure they will welcome all the requests and they do whatever they can do to resolve them. And I think the second important point is that one of the challenges that almost all international students experience is social isolation. So they often feel lonely, and isolated at first. Some may experience culture shock, and it can be really hard to be away from family and friends for a long period of time. So especially the pandemic I intensified that. So hang in there, you're not alone. And universities often offer free counseling for all students, so they can explore those options if they need professional assistance to cope with these issues. Personally, I found it useful to get involved with associations. For example, at UMass Lowell, we have Turkey student associations or grad psychology student associations. So students associations like that, I think, are good resources to build connections and meet new people. And outside of school, I made some friends through like social gathering events or language exchange groups in Boston. So there are many interesting people out there who are looking for connections just like us. It's just a matter of finding them, and it's really good to explore all these options and resources to just get out there and meet people and not feel isolated. So these are my recommendations.
Yeah. Thanks, Tugba. And those resources that Tugba mentioned, including support for international students from the university and free counseling, those services are all available at UMass Lowell. The other thing about UMass Lowell is that it's situated in a medium-sized city of Lowell, very close to a big city of Boston. And like Tugba said, there are all these off-campus resources and social groups that you can definitely join. Meltem, can you share with us your perspective?
Yeah, sure. Those were really good suggestions. I can add a little bit more. And I agree that being here as an international student can be rewarding and challenging in its own ways. It's for sure like really hard to deal with the time zone difference and managing the distance, being away from home, or like starting to just like speaking or living in a new language, not being able to like understand like jokes or like certain things. Sometimes it can be really like challenging if it's like happening repetitively. But despite these challenges, it's really educative and enlightening. And definitely I learned so much. And I found it really enlightening experience. You'll be introduced with different cultures, learn different perspectives. I think it's a great experience despite its challenges. So in general, my advice to international students, as Tuba said, like don't be shy for about asking resources, or don't be shy about your English grammar. Like although you think, for example, your language like might not be great, but just like try to communicate. Even though English is not your first language, don't be like afraid of making like grammar errors, and you will end up really exploring, like finding creative ways to explain yourself to people. So also, as a part of our PhD program, you'll probably have to teach. Like I know that most students, if they're TAs, they will like have to teach at some point. And again, it might be a little bit intimidating to do this like teaching obligation in another language. But with enough practice and preparation sessions, and students are really nice, I think you'll do fine. And it's a great experience academically and personally. Also, the other thing I was thinking, what suggestion I can make, maybe from direct experience, I have had hard times with like dental insurance situations. And I think as an international student, it's good to be aware of these insurance situations. Like our school is really good with the healthcare access. We have health center on campus and we have healthcare insurance, but we do not have dental insurance, and it can be really expensive. So one of the recommendations that I want to make is maybe looking into those options before you come to the US. And if you are a person who tend to have dental issues, buying dental care would be helpful to reduce that stress. And the other thing that I would like to make a suggestion is maybe thinking about the summer funding situation. And especially I want to make this recommendation to international students. I know it concerns like all students, but with our work permit situation, due to having student visa, we are not able to work as like citizens, I believe. So summer funding situations can be a little stressful, and I know our department is very supportive and seeking to help students who need funding in the summer. There are some opportunities, but it's not guaranteed. So thinking that you need to pay for summer rent, these things, because contracts are 1 year typically, it might be good to consider the funding situation. These are the suggestions that I came up with. I hope I didn't overwhelm newly like welcome students. Yeah.
Thank you, Meltem. Those are actually very, very important and helpful things to point out, because those are things you found out on your own. And thank you so much for bringing that up now. And definitely, if anyone watching has concerns or questions about some of the issues or other issues that Meltem brought up, feel free to contact the program, and we will definitely be very, very responsive and meet you and work with you to try and solve those problems. So before we wrap up, I just was wondering, just in case any of the international students here have any other last minute thoughts that you want to share I haven't asked about.
Oh, I can add in maybe on living in Lowell, because I lived both in Lowell and around the Boston area. So it's like a middle, small town. But I actually think it's really nice. It has some like great, like for me, like being a hipster guy, it has a like nice yoga places. I went to what do you call it, like a planting club. So there is a lot of nice people. It's I would say it's easy to get to know people. There is also like other PhD students around campus here. So there is a lot of like PhD students living here. It can be a little bit hard in the beginning to get to know like PhD students from other sections like engineers and so on. But like I did a lot of like sports activities, and they also have like they call it like it's like an adventure weekend. Usually like they have a program and you go out and maybe you do like hiking or skiing over the weekend. And the campus set everything set up this like program. So that's also like a nice thing if you want to get to know people, which I really liked about Lowell as well. And also Jack Kerouac, he's from Lowell, so it's a very historic city. And of course, you need to read On the Road Again, one of my favorite novels.
Thanks, Marcus. Definitely, as Marcus pointed out, Lowell is full of history and culture. Lowell has had many different waves of immigrants and refugees for the last 200 years, and each wave of immigrant brings with them that flavor that Lowell is imbued with. Boston, of course, is well known in the US and perhaps around the world as a very historical city as well. If folks are interested in culture and history and food, which both Lowell and Boston have unique types of food. Okay, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you to our panel of international students, and thank you to everyone out there for watching. As you know, the red subscribe button is up there on the top right. Please make sure to subscribe to our channel. On the description, I'm gonna also add our website information, our email, and our Twitter information. Also, the students today graciously agreed to let me also add their emails in case any of you has any questions for them. So thank you very much for watching. See you again soon. Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Oops.